and welcome back to the channel. So in today's video we're going to be talking about, well, the new tag that's appeared in the game that we can see here, hashtag 10-year challenge. So that is almost certain the list of the champions that we're going to be working with for the Korean challenges in Necropolis specifically. And I have filtered out only 7-star rarity, so we can see the full list basically. Oh wait, no, actually we should check the 6-star in case there are some. Nope, it's the same amount. So there we go. So here we go, Carina challenges. And these champions will have to go in Necropolis. So obviously minimum rank 2 would be required of these champions, ideally. Whichever ones we are going to end up using. So let's think about the viability of these champions. Well, we can't really for sure say about Sentinel. Sentry should be at the very least decent for some of the fights, as well as he is like a max ramp up character. But quite surprisingly so, we do have several of those as well. Now obviously the most popular ones of these are not necessarily the best for Necropolis, but they can certainly play a role, namely Wiccan. Because if Wiccan is going to be one of those champions that is allowed for the full path run, then at the very least we have somebody that is reverse control immune. So if you do have Wiccan, by the looks of it, I'm not going to tell you rank him now, but be prepared to rank him up, because out of these champions, yeah, the reverse control immunity is like super important, and he has that. Additionally, if I'm not mistaken, then we do have Ironheart. Well, Ironheart has armor buff effect. She's immune to reverse controls as well. So Ironheart could be a solid option instead of Wiccan. Not a lot of people know from the top of the head that, yeah, Ironheart does in fact have the reverse control immunity. So that would be Wiccan and Ironheart, I think, primarily. Unless I am missing out a champion here. And that's key, that's crucial. Obviously, Necropolis does not have the random away mechanic, so Black Cat is not as OP as she is in Labyrinth and Abyss. But still, in the right matchups, I believe Black Cat could potentially be absolutely bonkers. For instance, if we can use her for that Mr. Fantastic path, maybe. Then we have Vox, which, you know, can do substantial amounts of damage as well. But a few of the most noteworthy champions, in my opinion, could potentially be Shield, because obviously you can stack up and pause quite significant amounts of bleed, and you can ramp her up. And then you have the level 3, where you can only use it once per fight, but you do get that vicious passive, you have the regen, and in general, she can stack up huge amounts of bleeds with her heavy attacks whenever you do punish opponents stuff. So Shield definitely again is somebody to keep an eye out for. And obviously we have Null as a kind of classic ramp up champion that's capable of doing quite absurd amounts of damage and shutting down their Wade with his mediums and heavies as well. Adam Warlock, fairly good ramp up and long form damage output. And then there's Wong, where a lot of people already, you know, have been using Wong for clears of Necropolis. So if you have ranked up Wong, it's probably going to be a good time to put him to good use. We have Houndbuster with a very respectable amount of damage. And we do have Gamora and Moondragon. Now, I highly doubt too many people are going to be focusing on Moondragon. So realistically, the champions to keep an eye out for so far and kind of prepare the materials to rank, in my opinion, would be Wiccan or Ironheart for the final boss, if you need to do that with one of those. That's why I'm saying do not rush for the rank up button just quite yet until we know the specific details. And then we do have Shield, Null, Black Cat, Adam Warlock and Wong, potentially Gamora, because in theory you could be able to ramp up Gamora to quite a ridiculous amount of damage as well. So there definitely, yeah, there will need to be some rank ups on my account as well. A lot of these champions are actually not bad and awful, which is something that I kind of like. They are not necessarily champions that I was rushing to rank up, but it is quite plausible that I'm gonna end up doing a run with like a rank 2 Wong, or I might end up taking Gamora up to rank 2. I'm not the biggest fan of her, but she definitely can put up quite a lot of damage. Similar to Symbiote Supreme could end up being a crucial part to this, as if we go over by the classes and abilities that we need set, then we do have Wiccan and Symbiote Supreme as the mystic options in the standard sense that are with, you know, solid good buff control. Then we have Ironheart, Hulkbuster, and Sentinel as the tech options, and perhaps this is the easiest way to kind of break it down as well. I think Ironheart could potentially do that Sauron fight quite well. I will definitely need to do quite a lot of research before this challenge go live. We actually have 5 Cosmic Champions, being Vox, Null, Adam Warlock, Gore, and Gamora. Again, I do think Gamora and Null kind of look the most promising ones. Vox is obviously overall fairly solid option too, and I definitely know somebody used Adam Warlock for some of the Necropolis fights as well. Since there are 6 challenges, I kind of assume each challenge will have a set path as well. So let's quickly take a look at Necropolis map and figure out how Kabam is going to have this laid out for us. One second, Necropolis info, Necropolis map, Necropolis MCOC. Sure, I had that map not too far away. Here we go. We do have the map right in front of us. And let's take a look at that. So, I do kind of suspect this fight, which effectively previously required fairly specific sets of abilities. Would this be type of Ironheart fight? Which, like, if we need to do a tomb, for instance, which one of these champions could potentially do a tomb well? I mean, Ironheart with the incinerates, maybe? Can Wong do a tomb? That's a good question, because that was one of the more problematic fights as well, because you do take quite significant amount of damage back. Then we have Namor and Mr. Fantastic. That could potentially be the fight for Black Cat. So it's certainly going to be quite interesting to figure out, like, you know, which champions unlock these fights the best. I do think Ironheart's probably for the Sauron, most certainly. But it is quite odd that there's not a single mutant available here. Could maybe be an issue. We do have 4 science champions, 3 skill, but yeah, Kabam is not allowing mutants in this one. And science list of champions also quite interesting, because neither one of these champions is necessarily custom made for a long form content. I suppose Quicksilver is kind of super ramp uppy, so he might be the one. But we do have Sentry now. Again, knowing only the list of champions, I think the biggest question here right now is, well, which ones you already have ranked up, and which are the champions that you are staking the biggest hopes on. Again, I am quite certain that either Wiccan or Ironheart will have to play a role. And then, as like your main path clearers, it certainly will take a bit of effort, research, and study before we are able to kind of like put up guides and calculate paths for ourselves, because I do in fact plan on jumping in as soon as these launch, day 1, and I very much so look forward to it. Now that I know exactly what I'm going to be working with, that kind of makes it a bit easier to know what things to look up. Definitely need to check out some Wong videos, because, you know, I could definitely see myself taking him to rank 2. I even have a Glorious Games rank up jump for him, which is great. He's probably going to be the one that ends up getting that. And Gamora. Gamora might be one of the champions that I kind of have to rank up as well. I mean, she probably would be the best for the buff lane. We need quite a few buffs active against Odin. That was also reverse controls, which could be... This definitely will present quite a lot of challenges. So it's quite intriguing to, you know, take our first sneak peeks at it. Either way, as I said before, let me know what is your plan, or what is the concept of a plan that you guys are working with, now that you know which champions are going to be the 10th anniversary ones. I'll see you guys soon. Bye-bye. Hello there guys, and welcome back to the channel. So we have all the information about the